This is my old CVA Philadelphia Derringer that I built from a kit. When I built it, I inlaid a penny into it. It's a 1978 penny, and the reason for that is a penny has Lincoln on it, and I think everybody knows the significance of that. But it's a 1978 penny, so that I did that so I could remember what year I built it. And so that is 45 years ago that I built this thing, and I fired it a lot. It's got a brand new barrel on it now, because I shot that Derringer so many times. And when I was young, I used to severely overload it. And I mean, I would shoot 325 grain bullet. I think it was called a buffalo bullet. 325 grains. I would shoot those in it, and I would shoot them over a lot of black powder, way more than I'll even tell you. But I mean, that thing, it weighs 16 ounces, I think, and man, would that thing kick. But I don't think I ever fired a light load in it. But eventually, there's a line here between the breech and the barrel that you can't see. Actually, it's about right there, and you can't see it. Well, I can barely see it, just a little bit. The parting line right there, where the breech plug goes in. And what happened is, after, I don't know, 10 or 15 years of shooting it quite a bit, it eventually got to where you could see that line more and more. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to do something different. And I had picked up something that at a junkyard that I think is probably a Detroit Diesel wristband. And so I cut the barrel off of it, and I welded it. Welded that wristband onto it to make a new barrel. And there that is. And I have proof fired it several times with heavy loads over the years, but handheld, I always shot it with light loads. But that's about a 61 or 62 caliber, so about 20 gauge smooth bore. And I never really felt safe with it except with really light loads. And I've looked for a new barrel over the years, and or over the past probably 2 or 3 years, I started thinking I would like to have a new barrel for it. And I finally found one. And I gave more for it than I really wanted to, but it was the first one I had found since I'd started looking. And there were several other people watching it already. So it had a buy it now on it. So I went ahead and bought it. So there it is. And it looks like it's a cut down barrel from something else, because the lettering here runs all the way to the muzzle, and also the muzzle had some sharp edges on it. So I think it was probably cut down, maybe, as opposed to being an actual Derringer barrel. Now, these CVA guns, Spanish-made guns, were made by a company called Ducar. I think that's it, Ducar. And then there's another one called Decar, D-I-K-A-R. No, Jucar, J-U-K-A-R, and Decar. And This one and the original barrel was a Jew car, but this one is a D car. And I also bought a fairly recently a Colonial pistol barrel because I intended to buy a Colonial pistol back then too when they were cheap, but I never got around to it. The Colonial pistol is a 6-inch barrel, medium-sized pistol. And so recently I started buying the parts and put together a Colonial pistol, but I noticed that they changed it over the years. At some point, I'm not sure what year they changed the Colonial pistol, but it was the original ones that I remember had this type of breech plug, and then the later ones have a drum, a powder drum instead of this. And so anyway, I built one, but the barrel I found had the drum, and that's actually like my mountain pistol. It has a drum too, and I think my Kentucky pistol does too. I don't remember for sure. But anyway, I pieced together a Colonial pistol, and I've shot it a few times. So that'll be the subject of a future video. But today we're going to shoot this, and this is a brand new barrel, and it said that it was unfired. And so I'm going to shoot it for the first time because I've never fired it. This will be the first shot through it. And I used 20 grains of 3F and a patched 440 round ball, which that's the load that you're supposed to use in it, I think. That's the recommended load. But I never did that with the original barrel. When I shot round balls, I would usually use an overpowder wad and then 2 or 3 round balls and then another wad on top of that to hold it in. And but most of the time I shot as heavy of a bullet as I could. So I never fired any light loads in it whatsoever. But we're going to do that now. We're going to try it with a standard load. And I'm up here on the range, but I'm going to shoot just a board at the on the ground, a piece of pressure treated 2x4, and I'm going to see if this thing will actually penetrate with this light load. Okay, it was nice and loud, and the ball embedded itself in the board. That was 20 grains, or maybe 21. So, that's okay though. That'll be good for plinking. That would kill a rabbit. Okay, let's try 30 grains. Patched 440 round ball. Actually, it's more like 28.5 grains because I used a Lee 1.9cc dipper to measure it, and I checked the weight and it was about 28.5 grains. But still, that's almost 50% higher than the last one. I don't know what the deal was with that. It was a little bit of a hang fire. I know what it was. The lube from the patch, I used a different lube, softer lube, and I think it probably soaked into the powder. So we'll have to try that one again. It bounced off. People say, you know, they talk about bullets bouncing back at you and stuff like that, and it being really dangerous and so on. And you can see the dent it made, but it bounced back and hit me. But you know, it didn't do any damage to me. There it is. So anyway, we'll have to try it again. Okay, so I reloaded with 30 grains. Let's try it again. I didn't even put any lube on the patch this time, so it should work pretty well. The nipple is obviously clogged for some reason, plugged, but I don't have anything with me. I mean, in my regular black powder bag, I've got something to clean it out, but I don't have that with me right now. So we're just going to try another cap and see if it'll go this time. Of course, I'm following the standard safety protocol when you have a misfire like that, of keeping it pointed in a safe direction, which you're supposed to do anyway, but especially if you've had a misfire in the past few minutes. So 30 grains. Might have actually hit the same hole that I hit the first time. Because that felt like it had some power to it. Let me see. And there's a bit of patch stuck in there. No. Let me load it up again. I did bring what I needed to reload it. So I'll pause the video while I reload. Okay, I spit patched this one. And since I'm shooting it so soon after I patched it, after I loaded it, it shouldn't be a problem. Also went a little bit heavier. What I did, before I was using a 1.9 cc dipper, and that was a little bit less than 30 grains. So 28 and a half or something like that. This time I used a 2.2, and heaping is around 37 grains or a little bit more. And this last load that I just fired, I used a short scoop, 2.2, but probably no more than 30 grains. But this time I filled it all the way up, so it should probably be around 37 grains. So let's see how it does. Man, I don't know where that ball went. Maybe I just hit right beside the board, but I think you know, in watching it, you'll be able to see. But there's a fly checking it out. I'm going to try to shoot that fly if it stays there. But anyway, I might have hit just beside the board, but I think the board moved. But I actually found the fired patch back here on top of my 55-gallon drum that I'm using for a table. So that's pretty crazy that it ended up back there. Anyway, so let's give it another shot. The fly flew away, so we're just going to shoot the board. I don't know, did I hit just to the right? See, I'm leaning over a little bit to get the gun into the picture, but not, you know, not block the camera. Oh no, I hit. There it is. There's where I hit. I was looking at this, which looks kind of discolored, and I was thinking maybe I hit just to the right, but I was wrong. I actually did hit the board right where I was aiming for. And it is well embedded in there. So I used to load a lot more powder in this, up to 120 grains. I might have even gone to 150 with the original barrel. I'm not going to do that with this barrel, but what I do plan on doing is I might try going up to maybe 50 grains tops, but you know, just for experimentation, and not today, but I'm just going to shoot it some more with the 2.2 cc scoop, so around 35 to 37 grains, because that seems like a pretty good power level. And we're going to try shooting at something besides just something at my feet. So let me pause it while I reload. Okay, so I've got no sights on it. When I bought this barrel, it came with a front sight, but I'll probably use that on something else. I mean, you know, I've never had a sight on this Derringer. The original kit came with a sight too, of course, but I never put it on. It's no big deal to put it on. You just mark where you want it. Drill part way through, not all the way through, but part way. Maybe an 1/8 of an inch or something like that, and then press the sight in. But for a Derringer, I don't really need a sight. So what are we going to shoot at? I guess I'll let me see. That's been shot quite a bit, but it'll give me a good aiming point anyway. I wonder if I can do this. Yeah, that'll probably work. Let's try that. Oh man. Alright, hang on. Let me recap this. These are RWS caps, and I've mostly had pretty good results with them. But for some reason that's not happening today. Try it again. Load up one more. I think I hit pretty much center as for windage and a little bit high. So I'll shoot towards the base of the bottle this next time. Pause it while I reload. Okay, still spit patching. What that is, by the way, and it's something I learned early on, although I haven't always done it. I certainly don't do it if I'm going to leave it loaded for a while because it dries, but I'll take a patch and just put it in my mouth. And you know, I try not to get it really wet, but just damp, you know. And go ahead and load the powder, charge it with powder, take the patch out, make sure it's not too wet, lay it across the muzzle, lay it across the muzzle, put the ball on top of it, and drive it down. And I just use a starter as a ramrod with this, since the barrel is so short. Works perfectly. I use a T-handle starter, and works great. So anyway, so by doing that, it kind of cleans some of the fouling out of the barrel, out of the bore, each time you load it. And as far as these caps, you know, when I first got this Derringer back in 1978, it was the nipple had too small of a flash hole in it, and so it was unreliable. It was more unreliable than this, and so it would only occasionally fire. So I drilled it out with a tiny drill bit and made it bigger. And I mean, with the heavy loads I was firing, it would blow the hammer back to full cock sometimes when I fired it. And in fact, it's got a little chip in the nose of the hammer. Let me back out. But yeah, it's got right there, it's got a little chip missing from the nose of the hammer. That happened early on, and I think that happened when I was firing it. Of course, that's a cast part, so I'm sure it had a flaw in the metal right there. So no big deal, but that shows you that it was being hit pretty hard. So anyway, I don't intend to do that with this one, but what I might do is try a different nipple and see if it works better, because this nipple came with this barrel. So when I bought this barrel, it came with the nipple and the front side. And so I've got other, it's 6mm nipple, and I've got others, and I buy them maybe once a year. I'll buy a couple of them, you know, just so I'll have have them in stock because I have a couple other, or a few other old Spanish-made black powder guns, and they pretty much all take the same nipple. So it's good to have a few of them on hand. So let's try it again, see how this one does, and I'll point it. I can't really say aim since there's no sights on it, but I'll point it at the 6 o'clock hold at the bottom of the bottle and see what happens there. Really have no idea where it hit. Alright. It's running reasonably well right now. And that load feels good. It doesn't feel too powerful. It feels about right. And you saw, I mean, it penetrated, I don't know, probably 3/4 of an inch. No, actually it's a 440 ball, so it penetrated more than its length, probably double its length, so probably close to an inch into that pressure treated board. So that's doing pretty good. You know, it's probably only doing 550 or 600 feet per second. But for what one of these, you know, the actual purposes that one of these is good for, that's you know, good enough. I mean, kill a snake with it, finish off a deer, or whatever, you know. So let's load it and shoot it again. So that was all the bullets I brought today. So, out of necessity, we're going to call it a day. Thanks for joining me.